Okay, I remember seeing this trailer in theaters for a couple of weeks and it just completely disappeared. And it kind of just like left my mind. But then I did research. Apple only was going to release it for 1 week before this weekend. Apple, y'all dirty. Y'all some dirty mother. Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon reviewing Wolves. So what's it about? Pretty simple premise. You have Brad Pitt and George Clooney that are quote unquote lone wolves. What are they there for? Pretty simple. They are there to clean up messes. And even though the movie's called Wolves, because they're lone wolves, but now they're both at this quote unquote crime scene and they gotta figure out what they're gonna do with this DA agent, what they're gonna do with this bag of drugs, and the kid as well that you've seen in the trailer. So, did I like this movie? I thought it was a interesting caper movie. Am I saying that right? I don't know. I'm an idiot sometimes, but it's one of those movies where you could put it on in the background, you could smile at the stuff going on screen, but what you're going to get out of it isn't as deep or layered as I was wishing it would be. So anyway, when we talk about the positives, George Clooney, Brad Pitt, chemistry through and throughout. Amy Adams makes a little appearance as the DA. She does an okay job. The kid, what is his name? Austin Abrams. He does a good job as the kind of clueless guy that doesn't know what the hell is happening. And so with this, once they actually meet up, they have to go to point A to point B to point C to figure out where these drugs belong and where they should go. Why does this look so damn crooked? Also, what is good about this movie is the technical craft. And what I mean is what's behind the camera is also in front of the camera. There is good shots of just funness, of good cinematography, and of good placement of what you should do in this situation. What I mean by that, there is one situation where Brad Pitt gets a gun he's never had his sights fixed for. And there's a scene where he does it to make sure he knows what to do. Fantastic. There's also another kind of the same scene where they're hits, so they don't waste bullets. And that is one thing my mom absolutely despises is all these bad guys and people just waste bullets. Like, it's not unlimited. It ain't no Call of Duty shit where you're playing Warzone. You're very limited amount, so you got to know what you're going to use it for. So I did like that technical craft of the movie. You could say there's not a lot of violence in this movie, that George Clooney and Brad Pitt are kind of in the background of what is happening. Sure. And to that, I enjoyed it, but I think the last frame of the movie really kind of like angst me because they kind of left it at a, you think what's going to happen, or do you know what's going to happen? And that kind of pissed me off to an extent. Um, I like the setting of being in winter because it was shot, if I'm not mistaken, January 2023. So damn, it took almost 2 years to release this film. I don't know if it's whose fault it was. I mean, because it could have been Apple. Like I said, Apple's is some dirty shit. Apple has always been a dirty company. Android, I'll never own an Apple phone ever. Ever, because of this shit right here of basically being dirtbags. And let's be honest, how many people actually own Apple Plus? Not a lot. The only reason I have it, it's free because of T-Mobile. If I didn't have it, I would have not watched this film. Or I wouldn't have the opportunity unless I went to Voodoo and stuff like that and bought it for like $20. Anyway, the problem with this movie, I think, is the writing. It's very simplistically done at a point where you're adding all these side characters that don't lead to anything. Like, there's this scene where they go to a wedding, and let's be honest, if two people have the same guns, they're not buddies. And that kind of irked me. It's like, if they're in the same career field, right? And they're in the same career field, and they were like, oh shit, wouldn't they want to have the best guns in the business? So why would they not be using the same type of guns? Like, to be honest, they were never buddies before this, and so they have the same guns anyway. So you don't have the correlation of it's going to be there. And then, of course, these three people go to this shootout, and you're thinking, who authorized that? Because I just feel like that was very, very out of place. Yes, you need to put it in there because mode of transportation has completely changed now. But I just think that storyline itself didn't add anything to it. And it was kind of a, like when you have a balloon that goes, like the air gets sucked out of it. That's what it felt like on that level. But I mean, it's an overall simplistic movie. I don't know what else to say. There's chemistry between the two leads. There is good comic relief that has been just sprinkled throughout this movie, and it puts a chuckle on the face. It puts a smile on the face. You just feel the funness of this movie. So it's hard to dog this movie when you feel the funness that is thrown on the screen. So I mean, overall, Wolves, it's a very simplistic movie. It is, it could be a R-rated Ocean's 11, 12, 13 with a lot smaller cast and more violence. I mean, that's the best way to put it, because when you watch the Ocean's movies, you feel the chemistry, you feel the funness. Same thing with this. George Clooney, Brad Pitt, you feel the funness, you feel them having a good time, you feel the chemistry, you just feel just a fun time on the screen. However, the more you dig deep into the stuff happening on screen and what decisions are made, and that last frame kind of is a letdown on that part. So Wolves will receive a 3.5 out of 5 with Futons, which equals at 70%. Let's see what the critics' news scores gave this one. Critics is 72%, audience score 65%. There's 106 critics, 100 audience score. Critic consensus. George Clooney and Brad Pitt's professional star power gives Wolves zip when the cycles through cliches of the fixer genre, making it for a pleasing and slick throwback. Actually, that's the best way to put it. It's a slick throwback that once the movie's done, you're like, that was pretty good, but you're not gonna be like, oh yeah. So 70, 65, 72. Chase Zlatko here with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know things Blueftowntopia. You Blueftonians, thank you for watching. Have a great day. I'm going to watch this tape tomorrow, week from now, month, and a year from now. Every single freaking one of you. And are you a lone wolf? Is that kind of a bad stipulation now? Maybe. But still, Apple, y'all dirty.